Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Well, I will take a moment when when the water is hot to pour on my tea. Otherwise, we can start. So Sohail Aman is here. Says hello, sir. Hello, Sohail. Remind me of your age and where you're tuning in from. And Maisha says, hi, Mehran. It's Maisha, 20 female on Bangladesh. Hello, Maisha, dear. How are you? Good of you to join us here. Brian Matthew says, hello, sir. Hello, Brian. And Sohail Aman says, 20 years, sir. When Aman, where, Sohail? From, where are you? Oh, India. Okay, good, thanks. So Aman, male 20 from India, says, sir, when someone hurts me badly, one different personality wake up from me. That personality try to break that person emotionally, but not physically. It is split personality or it's my illusion. No, it's not split in personality, it's just anger. Why do you want to call yourself split personality? It's not split personality. You just get angry and you have a strong ego and a different image of yourself in your mind, and you don't like it if someone misjudges you or tarnishes that image that you have created out of yourself in your mind, the image that you want the people to see you, the way you have envisioned yourself, the way you feel you are. So when someone hurts you that way, you get really angry because you value your ego and the image you have of yourself more than yourself. In other words, you think the image you have made out of yourself in your mind about yourself and your ego is more important than you are, your actuality. So you rise to defend an image you have made out of yourself, which that image worth pretty much nothing because without you, there's no image. So the image can be done without, and you make another image next second. But I understand what you're saying. It's just you don't like to be unfairly judged or behaved towards because you're probably a nice person, you're polite, you respect people, you don't bother people, and you don't like it when they do that kind of a behavior which is unjust. But don't consider yourself a victim in this world to expect everybody to give you justice and be proper and polite and respectful, because when they are disrespectful or unleash injustice on you or unfairly treat you, it's not a reflection on you. It's a reflection on them. That means they are low quality, low standard, disrespectful, because they are judging someone good, someone who's not intending any harm to anyone else in a wrong way. So it's not on you, it's on them. But you think because they have attacked you, that means there's some wrong with you, or you're belittled, or you're less valuable, less important. No, they are less important, less valuable because of the way they have treated someone like you who have not done anything to them. So it's the rest of it is the ego and the image you have and the anger to protect that what you are, because you think when they attack you emotionally they've hurt you, but in fact really they think they're hurting you, but in reality they're not. They can't hurt you because it's all suggestion and ideas and lack of proper words or proper treatment, but nothing that really can affect you in any way, shape, or form, or diminish you in any shape or form. So if you focus on that, you just consider their behavior, their stupidity, their lack of proper judgment, being imbalanced, and lack proper balance and behavior towards someone who hasn't intended to harm them. So you just pity on them, say, well, they're stupid. But if you tell me what kind of a um, hurt you badly. What hurts you badly? At least we can then maybe have some kind of a point of reference on that. Hub. Boy, it's pretty cold tonight. Let me see. Did you guys know we had snow is packed everywhere in town since last night? It just packed up the snow. Let me see. It's pretty cool. It must be minus something. Let's see. Vancouver's weather is -1. There it is. But it's colder than other nights that was -2. So anyhow, I have my jacket on, so. Vabe Hub says, I have a different type of OCD called Tourettic OCD and no one understands it. My therapist consider it normal OCD and do not work to cure the condition I have. I am from India. Please help me. So your therapist thinks what this is not an OCD, or you say she uses the normal OCD and not work on. Let's see. So, the way its definition are, correct me if I'm wrong, if that is also same in you. When you call your OCD Tourettic OCD, what do you mean? Because the definition for that is when a person is being occupied with compulsions that is both comes from intrusive thoughts and array of different kinds of elaborated intrusive thoughts that leads you to do certain compulsions and certain behaviors. So I'm not sure if that would mean for you that you're going to do certain behavior. Is it touching the wall a certain number of times or walking over a certain kind of a separation between tiles on the floor or parts of the road that you're walking on, and at the same time you have intrusive thoughts of different kinds, not just one kind, like all kinds of different thoughts. But if that is what you mean, that is a subset of OCD. So OCD is OCD. You can't say one of them is not OCD, one of them is OCD. They're all OCD, and the treatment for them is beyond the realization of what it is, what it does, and how your psyche works, and the stuff that we've talked about on the videos. It's also certain steps that the psychologists will take, psychotherapists will take, and this could be a little bit focused toward the specific OCD that you have, but in general, the approach is similar in many aspects of it. The Tourettic OCD is including not just thought but images, which then it's accompanied by a ritualized behavior, compulsions that you gotta do. I don't know, maybe it means 5 times this, or I don't know, some kind of a ritual thing, or maybe touch something, or walk on something, or you know, or do some kind of a gestures. At the same time, intrusive thoughts showing up. So follow what they're saying. I'm not there, so I don't exactly have enough information about what kind. And at the same time, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychotherapist. So if they are a specialist, if they're just psychologists, they might not be able to help you as much as a specialist in OCD can do. You got to find a psychotherapist who's specializing in OCD. Not just any psychologists that seems like they're psychologists, but that's not specialized in OCD. Mm-hmm. Okay. So premonitory, like you have a permission, like you have a premonition. I think that's the word. I'm kind of blanked right now. Um, that's like being a superstitious, and you do a certain rituals to counter that what is being suggested in your head about that something bad might happen. But if you do this, it won't. It's kind of borderline superstitious and OCD, but then it becomes to OCD when you have to do a certain compulsion, certain rituals in order to kind of counter effect that. I have 6 different OCD videos, the old ones, that I was actually suggesting someone who asked me a similar question but different in the morning, earlier on to the session. And I suggested for him to, was it her, to watch this series of 6 videos that I made a few years ago about OCD. They're not among the new videos that I've made in regards to OCD and HOCD, but they are about the traditional OCD and the roots of it, which all comes from the psychological need for psychological security. And you must watch this, and you probably will understand where it's coming from and why you feel that way, because you're looking for security. You haven't been able to deal with uncertainty, and you want to be certain about everything, as if life itself is certain. Life itself is not certain. We've all been raised in a scenario, the life itself, that has no certainty in it about nothing. And we're okay with it. Even our death, we don't know when it's going to happen. Next minute, year from now, 10 years, whatever. We have no idea, but we're okay with it. Every time you step outside a home to go somewhere, you may be driving or getting a taxi. You know there is a risk involved, but you're okay with it. The whole idea of life is uncertainty. And we all know that someday we all die. But we want to turn this temporary uncertainty to permanent certainty. And that's the problem. If you understand that this is not reasonable or logical for you to expect, then you won't try to do certain rituals to make it so. It's all illusory that you're trying to create certain kind of a balance in the way of psychological security by doing certain rituals that in your head you accept it as it's now this ritual counterbalances that whatever it was threatening or creating anxiety, and doing this ritual brings that balance that you're looking for and gives you that certainty and assurance that things are not kind. It's kind of borderline superstitious. But you look at. I remember when I was a kid, being raised, in Iran. Most families had the opportunity to hire someone to help with the chores of the house, cleaning and shopping and this like that, things like that, making food and so on. And we had a wonderful, lovely grandmother type of a character, and she had these rituals of beliefs or superstitions that when she was about to go out of the home, I remember I was a kid. She was right about to go out of the home to do some shopping for my mother, and she would sneeze as soon as she just crossed the door. And she would come back in, take her shoes off, and wear them not matching her feet. Like the left shoe would go on the right shoe, the right shoe will go on the left shoe. And she says this will counter affect because either she had to wait for another sneeze to counter the first sneeze, which is supposed to have a bad omen in her mind, either to wait for another sneeze, which that could take a long time or may never come, so she's going to lose time to do whatever she was, setting out to do, or she would have to come back in and switch the shoes in order to come. So these are superstitious, and I saw it, and I thought it's silly. But to some people, when they keep doing it, they create a belief. Once that belief is created, then you're no longer looking for it, reasonability of it, logic of it, evidence for it, because you have turned it into a belief. Like you believe into something and you don't need any other proof. I believe it. Well, that's how it is. I believe it. Why? Because that gives you that assurance, psychological security, that safety, the security. And because you do that and nothing bad happens, you conclude that, see, I did this, that's why I was protected. And then you do it again, and nothing bad happens. And then you do it again, nothing bad happens, to the point that you believe it. You believe in it for no reason, no real solid reason. Because even if you didn't do it, still nothing bad would have happened. So if you watch that video, perhaps it opens up a little different way of with your question. If you watch that, that will give you some kind of a views on that, which I hope you will be of some views. So what is it? Oh, here I was looking for OCD. Okay, there are 6 of them, but number 1 would be this one. They're long ones, actually. I like to talk a lot. So here it is. I put it in here for you. And let's see. So, for example, yeah, okay. Let's see. There it is. That's the link for you. And let me just get this as well. Okay, now let's see what we have here. Alex says, hello Meran, male 18, Mexico. I just have a quick question. I am getting better with my HOCD, but sometimes I have no anxiety and no fear, but my brain tells me I'm accepting being homosexual. No, fuck that. What are you talking about? If I hear something that is not suitable to me and I don't get anxious or bothered or panic or anything like that, that means then I'm that. What if somebody calls me an asshole and I don't pay attention and move on, but I don't get anxious, just say, oh, the guy is stupid or silly? What does that mean? You're creating all these rules and law. Oh, I have to get nervous and upset. No, it just means that you realize it's bullshit. You know, you don't find it a threat anymore because you have realized that your power, the power is not in the thought or suggestion or the images or ideas. The power is in your vetoes and choices, meaning you have the final say. No suggestion or thoughts can ever become anything into any action or any actualization unless you allow it. And since you are not the brain, you're beyond the brain. Brain cannot reach you. Brain can say whatever he wants to say, suggest whatever he wants to say. But you are ultimately the one that you veto what brain suggests, or you choose whatever it is that you think it's appropriate for you to choose in whatever aspect of life it may be. And for that reason, to be confident about the fact that you're the boss, you make things happen or die, and that nothing comes off of any suggestion or ideas. You are the power, therefore you're not panicking about anything anymore, no matter what the suggestion of the brain is. Because the problem is that you think what brain pops up and suggests is fact, or it can be actuality, because you think brain is you. You think the brain is intellect. I want you to bring your attention to the fact that brain is the most stupid part of your existence, because it thinks it knows anything, but it doesn't. In fact, scientifically proven that the brain cannot reach the aspect of your humanity, an aspect of your mind. Brain is below you. You're the boss of the brain. Brain works for you. It's a tool. It's an apparatus. It's not your leader. It's not your destiny of what brain says. It's a tool. It makes thoughts, suggestions, and it annoys you, and it keeps saying it. And if you're weak-minded, you may accept it. But that's a suggestion you accepted. Nothing biological is in the power of the brain to change anything. Brain can some shit as it wants to, but it cannot actually turn anything to actuality unless you buy into the bullshit and you act on the suggestion. Then it can become actuality. But when you are the power, you should not be anxious or panic or excited about anything, because you have the power. You have the key to anything that the brain, or other people for that matter, could suggest or expect. So when you realize that there's no threat here, then you wouldn't be anxious about anything. Okay, the brain suggests you're homosexual. Okay, you know you're not, so who cares? It can suggest whatever. I could be walking in the street and somebody call me whatever that I'm not. Okay, why would I go and try to hackle with the guy, prove anything to the guy or whatever? I just pass by, don't pay attention. And for that reason, I may get annoyed and upset that the guy just, said something about me that's not true. And I want to defend my identity, because that's important to me. But in reality, that uttering cannot do anything to me. Same thing with the brain. It can suggest whatever, a million times of suggestion over and over. It's crazy, that's all. That's all you got to tell me. Okay, my brain is crazy. It's my brain, but it's not me. My brain. Yeah? Brain is it. My part is me. So if there's a me, there's a me, and then there's a brain. Then there's a kidney, my liver, my leg, my brain. They're all, because there's a me, my, and they belong to me, so they're separate than me. If it was me, then I wouldn't call it my brain, I would say me. But it's not. So these are all working for you, parts of you. They're not you. So clear that up, and then you wouldn't care what they say. It's like saying, what my students, like you're a teacher, my student said this. So what? Your student said that. My student thinks that way. So your student thinks that way, but you don't think that way. Huh? My student thinks I'm stupid. Well, that doesn't mean I'm stupid. My student thinks I don't have dinner to eat. But what does the student know? That's his opinion. But I had dinner. What I'm trying to say is what somebody else thinks has got nothing to do with you. And what your brain thinks, it's got nothing to do with you, because brain is no different than somebody else. That's how separated you and the brain are. You use the brain for calculations, for all these things that you want to do. But the brain itself is a machine making thoughts. It's got nothing to do with you. Whatever it suggests and makes, it's independent from you. It's an independent system. But you have been duped to believe throughout your life that the brain is your leader. You got to follow, listen to it. What? To listen to what? Brain is a machine. Did it know anything when you were a child? No, you had to teach it everything. You got to go to school and teach it how to read, teach it how to learn things. And then information, once it learned to understand and speak and read, then information was able to come through its apparatus of learning or reading or becoming aware of the happenings in the world. And based on that information, you start making thoughts, because its job is a thought manufacturing plant. That's all. And now what it makes you think, oh, it came from some kind of a beyond you. No, it came out from the things that it learned how to read, how to look at things and learn and analyze and process. So it's processing all these information that's irrelevant to you, but it's here. And then it wants to make thought, because its job is to make thought, and makes thought based on what has seeped through the consciousness. So makes thought, and everything has seeped through the consciousness. Every brain in the world is now knowledgeable and aware of the same things that every other brain is aware of. Things that is happening in the world. Products, design, technology, people's personal lifestyle, sexuality, inclinations. All these from different mediums have seeped through the inventory of information of all brains. And what does all brains' jobs is? To make thoughts. So where do they get the material to make thoughts? From all this information that's found its way into your brain, into your consciousness. But that has nothing to do with you. How come when a thought of donkey's ass shows up in your head, you don't say, oh, that means I'm a donkey's ass. It finds material and makes thoughts out of it. And some of the materials that it makes out are other intrusive thoughts. It's got nothing to do with you. But because it shows up in the screen of your head, and you have of the belief that whatever shows up in the head, that's describing you, that's the problem is. But it's just doing its job, and when it goes malfunction, there's an OCD involved, it goes haywire. You're supposed to be strong in that, stand your ground and understand who you are. Your values and identity is sacred and is safeguarded within your super consciousness, within your wise advocate, within your core values, within your gatekeeper. This is where you hold all these values and things that are relevant to you and are sacred to you. And that includes your gender, your inclination, your preferences, your lifestyle, and you protect that against all these other things. So anything that comes into your mind by other people or by your own thoughts is uttered towards you. You gauge it against your values that you hold in secret. And if it's not lining up, if it's not matching your values and your preferences and your lifestyle, then you simply let it fall by the wayside and don't pay attention to it. And that's how the power is in your hand. You shouldn't get nervous about anything because you're in control all the time. And this is how you protect yourself, by standing your ground about your values that you're safeguarding. So that's it. You're not following the brain. Brain is working for you, so you don't take what brain shows up with as any credibility. It's a tool. It's an organ. It does things. It's like your intestine. Your intestine gets food and turns it into energy, and the rest of it shuts it out in the bathroom. And the brain, its job is to make thought. So it makes thought, and some of it is useful for you to accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish, and most of it is useless. But the ones that are useful are the ones that you're making it to accomplish something, learning something, produce something, design something, and so on. But the other stuff, the brain makes it because you use the brain's apparatus to use it for your advancement in life, and the brain uses its own apparatus to make thoughts because that's its job, based on protecting you, or based on whatever it's trying to find occupation by creating thoughts in order to find security for itself, because brain is looking for security itself, and its security comes from being occupied in making thoughts. And if it makes some thoughts that engages you in debate and conversation, that holds it longer, so you feel secure in that environment of discussion, debating. So it makes thoughts in order to feel secure, because it doesn't get secure by physicality and physical environment. It gets secure by being occupied, by making thoughts. But you're not supposed to believe what it does. You're supposed to be choosing and judging what it does, not believing what it does. That's the problem. Take that level of, clearance from the brain and demote it, and you understand, put it in its place that it's a tool. It's an organ, it's an apparatus. And when your intestine goes wrong and you get sick and you have diarrhea, you clearly understand that, and you don't say, oh, diarrhea, that means I'm diarrhea. I like to be, this is normal, this is how it is for me. No, you clearly see it that there's a malfunction. Well, when the brain starts talking shit, you seem to think, oh, well, maybe I am. No, it's the same thing. It's malfunctioning. That's all. And then you learn how to behave with it, to rewire it and fix it up. Okay. All right. The reason I go through these fast, because I've said that a million times before, so I just want to remind you and refer you. Watch the videos on the playlist Intrusive, Transient, OCD, HOCD, Negative Thoughts for detailed interpretation of these things and other information about thoughts, where it comes from and its relationship with consciousness, and then why intrusive thoughts happen, and then all these other things about it, and interpretations of the thoughts that comes to you. All of that is in that playlist. And then also the next playlist is Intrusive, OCD, HOCD, short videos. And in that, we're not talking about interpretation of thoughts. We're talking about the relationship between brain, thoughts, and you, and the separation of it, and all the experiments that neurosurgeons have done to prove scientifically that you're beyond the brain, and brain is not you, you're not the brain, including other videos that I've made talking about the understanding of experiments that are done through in labs, in regards to quantum physics, and it shows how you can actually see that you are beyond the brain, you're outside the brain, you're not in the brain, you're not part of the brain, brain is not you, you're not the brain. So what brain makes, which is thoughts, is got nothing to do with you. It's brain's thoughts, not yours. You got to understand these things to claim your freedom from thoughts, freedom of mind from the nonsense that the brain makes. All right. Alec, I hope that was helpful to you. Maisha says, sir, I'm fine. I hope you are fine too. Thank you, dear. So, sir, so how to focus on a certain fact when you're too much distracted because of too much pressure on your head? How to value facts I should care most? I have my university entrance within 1 month, but I am pressurized. My family is not supportive enough, unfortunately. I'm trying harder, but I'm not satisfied with my progress. Okay, Maisha, you're talking in riddle a little bit. I'm not sure what is it that you call fact? What is it that you're stressed about? What is it that you are concerned about your university starting? What facts are we talking about? Is it that you want to go to university and they don't want you to go to university, they want you to get married? Or is it that you are focusing on getting study to enter university, take the exam and have your entry pass to the university and you can't focus on your studies? Or what is it that I seem to be missing here? Vabe says, I get a premonitory urge to shake different body parts and rituals. Ah, I see. Just don't do it once and see what happens. Just try. I used to think that if I touched a light switch, I don't know, 5 times, 10 times, or maybe I should do one more, or now it was too much, I got to do 2 more to fix it up. If I don't do that, maybe something bad happens. But one day I said, look, this is stupid because it's all illusory, and I'm believing something that the brain makes. I'm following it as if it has intelligence. Brain doesn't have intelligence. Why am I believing such a thing? If that was true, then why wouldn't I use it to have $1 million in the bank by touching it 50 million times, or 5 times, or 10 times, or doing some kind of ritual? If the ritual, shaking part of your body, or touching the light switch, or checking the stove 5 million times, or go over the separation between the tiles on the ground or on the street, if these things would have caused something bad not to happen, then they should have the power to cause something good to happen. So what if I just don't study and do these rituals and hope to pass the exam to university? What if I just don't work much and just do these rituals and hope that you have $1 million in the bank? It doesn't work, does it? We don't believe in that, do we? But we believe in the other one, that if I do it, something bad will not happen. But we don't rely on the fact that if I do it, then something good will happen and I don't have to do a damn thing. We don't buy into that. So we are looking for psychological security, and because that is not something that it's possible to foretell the future for yourself, but you're looking for certainty, so you create a condition in your mind that believes because you did this, now you have certainty, and you've accomplished that mission to be certain in your mind. And that certainty is illusory itself. You should be able to live with uncertainty. And the fact that you do all these things to make sure there's a certainty that nothing bad happens is the problem. Just say, listen, everybody in this world, if that was true, then everybody coming to the street, I would see 8 billion people shaking their asses or shaking their body parts or something, and everybody is doing something. So everybody is dancing in the street because they're trying to avoid something bad to happen or something good to happen. So that would be a very silly world. And if that was true, you wouldn't be the only one who know it. So many other people would know it, and if it was true, and would be doing it. But you don't see too many people walking in the street and doing all kind of different things to fend off evil spirits or bad omens and stuff like that. So if it can't be done for good reasons, it can't be effective for bad reasons either. So on that note, just say, fuck it, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to shake my booty, or I'm not going to shake my leg, or shake my hand, or twitch my nose. I'm not Samantha in the Bewitched program to move my nose and something magical happen. So therefore, I'm just not going to do it. If something bad happens, well, I get help and do whatever it is, but it's irrelevant to these rituals, and I'm going to prove it to myself. You didn't ask for any evidence to believe in what you're doing, but I want you to now prove it to yourself by not doing it and see what happens. And don't tell me just because I stumbled and fell, because I didn't do the dance. No. Something awful, yeah, okay. And you think all these days that have been okay because you've been doing all these rituals. No, bullshit. I had that, not the ritual of dancing thingy, but touching this and that so forth. I got rid of them because they were bullshit. Yeah, I proved it to myself. It was bullshit. It's just illusory. You can't allow your brain to take over. Brain is very powerful, can make you think shit, including these things, but that's the least of it. But you're supposed to know better that you are the ultimate power, not the brain. Because no matter what the brain suggests or thoughts, images, or ideas, you have the ultimate power. The power to veto what it suggests and the power to choose what you think should be chosen and done, selected. That's where the power is. Not in these illusory things. And go ahead, stop doing it one day and see what happens. And if nothing happens, next day, don't do it either. Huh? To begin with, in order to create a rewiring in your brain, if your ritual is like, I don't know, whatever the ritual is, shorten it into one move. Like do the ritual in your head and just do one twist for all the other. And then after that says, look, if I diminished all that movement and nothing happened, I'm going to diminish this as well. And you'll see nothing happens. And pretty soon you keep doing nothing and then nothing happens. And then you will understand that this was just an illusory thing. You conjured it up for no reason. You made it up. And the same way you made it up, you can make it disappear because you realize it means nothing. It does nothing. It's good for nothing. All right. User 22 says, hello, Marin. Hello, user 22. Behab says, thank you, sir. I'll talk about it. Okay, good. Yeah, but yeah, he says, my movements lie in blurred line of involuntary and voluntary. Yeah, but you're the boss. You involuntarily nonsense. You're in power. You're the actual. You're the living sensuous being. Not these involuntary. What do you mean involuntary? Involuntarily because your brain pushes you to do it. And you just say, hey, brain, I'm the boss. Fuck off. I'm not going to listen to you. Do all these kind of silly things. It's like the old times. It's like superstitious that they had believed in old people in the old, I don't know, many centuries ago. They were doing, I don't know, all kind of different dancing and rituals because it was all psychological security and giving hope and certainty that somebody is watching over you and all these things, creating all these things to feel good about yourselves and handle the challenges of life. But in fact, it was all you were in power, good or bad. You were the one who were instrumental in all these things, in believing in all these things. But there is nothing real about them. Yeah. Forget about certainty. The whole life that you're living is uncertain. But what do you want to make certain? If the whole entirety of an environment is uncertain, then you want to create certainty in the middle of the whole scenario of uncertainty? I mean, who are we fooling? Live with power and energy. Live with uncertainty and vigor and chivalry and strength, bravery. I'll deal with it if something happens. And you do your best. We either survive or die. But we are not going to be allowing to die while we're alive through all these fears. Chester says, Male 27, Hawaii, aloha again. Aloha, dear Sid. I was going to call my own name. Dear Chester, good to see you. I hope you're doing good. Nice jacket, by the way. Yeah, thank you. It's a gift from my son. And it's cold enough today. It's no joking. And so I thought it's just let it be. Put my gloves out. All right. Aravind says, sir, Arvind. I had an OCD before HOCD. Now I had a thought of what if I... Yeah, I responded to you, Arvind. on your on the Instagram that you send me a message. And I want to ask you guys to remember, this is what the live stream is for. So you guys come here and then you ask your questions and I answer it. But if you send me Instagram, which some of you do all the time, it defeats the purpose, because then I'm supposed to be emailing back and forth, and it takes lots of time when lots of people are doing it. So that's why I have this free service on Saturdays, 1 p.m. and 9 p.m. And you can come in and ask your questions, and I'll do my best to answer all questions as much as possible. And when we have 8 people totally showing up, well, then we can answer all the questions. And in the morning, we had a busy day. We had lots of questions, lots of people. But this is it. This is what it is for. Otherwise, the Instagram and writing me, it just defeats the purpose for this, because I've provided this. I think it's more efficient this way. Andrew Legarda says, the same Aaron, I'm recovering from HOCD, but oftentimes I will get a random and strong sense of hopelessness that I won't recover from OCD. Do you have any advice for that? Well, there's no sense of thinking I recover, I don't recover. It's a mental state that is illusory, and the brain is so powerful that makes you think it's real, but it's not real. And as I said, all the things that I said, I'm not going to repeat it, but if I upload it, you will see what things I said if you've missed it. It's just thoughts. It wants to make you believe that the thought is you, but you're not thoughts and you're not the brain. But it's very powerful. That's why there are techniques that your psychotherapists and your psychologists can talk about it with you and help you to see how to deal with it. ERP is, treatment of the sort of the choice, and they show you how to understand. The key in getting rid of HOCD and OCD in general, and its subsets of OCD, could be pedophile OCD, harm OCD, responsibility OCD, all kinds of OCD, HOCD. The key is to understand the separation between brain to be a tool, apparatus, and what it makes thoughts, and you. These are separate. You're not the brain, so what it thinks, it's you. And you got to defend it, or you got to talk about it, or you got to consider it. No. It's so powerful that the brain makes the body react. And there are, I'm going to make a few videos in regards to groinal response and all that, which is just very obvious, but most people don't understand that you can have groinal response to doorknob. Anything and everything in this world has a sexual connotation, sexual association. As long as it can be attributed or at least be associated with any kind of sex, you may have a groinal response. It could be a male muscle, it could be a male looks, it could be if the male is a bit naked here, or shows certain part of the skin or body. It's not that you're reacting, having a groinal response to that male or that body part of the male. It's the fact that that male or the body part is part of this world's sexual connotation and association with sex. And the idea that is connected to sex, the concept of sex is what you're having arousal. You could have the arousal, a groinal response or arousal towards the word love or flower, because you could be thinking about flower. Date, I give it to the girl likes me, love, that could give you an arousal. But you don't say, oh, I'm homoflower, or I'm flower sexual. You don't say that, do you? Why? You just had a growing response to a flower. Because you understand the sequence of event. Flower, romance, beautiful girl, and then sex and all that, have a sexual conversation, and you're okay with that. But if same arousal comes through a different pathways of starting the chain of association, such as a body part of a man, or man who's wearing, tank top or shorts or whatever, or just intrusive thought shows up, and you see that body part and you understand your own body part is to be used for sex with women. So you see that body part, and that also represents a possibility of that person having sex with someone. But you bypass all that and you go to the sex part and you react to the idea of sex, association with sex, but has nothing to do with having that groinal response toward that person. It's toward the concept that that particular something that has a sexual connotation led into the concept of sex. All of that is explained in my videos, but if you understand that, then it'd be easier for you to digest all these things. Just one moment, please. All right. All right, sorry about that. So, let me turn this off, please. Okay, so and we have Andrew says, okay, got that. Thanks so much, Maran. Alex says, you're quite welcome. And Gaurav, where have you been? My goodness, it's been a long time, isn't it? Says, hello, Maran. And this is Mail 28, Canada. Oh, Canada. So you're not the same screen name that I thought it was. And since my breakup, so it's the first time you're here, Gaurav, but I thought I saw this screen name. So since my breakup, I don't feel optimistic about my life. Hang on. I don't know if you're familiar with my little friend, but I'm going to introduce him to you. This is called the ugly stick. And people who go way out of their depths and go out of their minds and talk nonsense, and they think that their life is summed up in one relationship or one woman, that if she's not in your life, then suddenly life as a whole, in entirety, means nothing. How can you say that? How could you disrespect the chance that you've been given by the universe, that out of 300 million sperms, when your mom and dad were close, they created that many opportunities for someone to be born. And you were given the power to beat them all and be the chosen one. To begin with, you're the luckiest. You're the hopefulness. You're the chosen one, that you had the opportunity to come to this world and contribute to the well-being and the advancement of this world, and to make a difference to other people's lives, whether you know it or not. Whatever you do, the fact that you exist makes a difference to everybody's lives. And you take that to be personal, that I don't have hope for my life. What about your duties about other people? What about the things that other people have done without you know them, without them knowing you in their lives, that has affected your upbringing and your advancement and development? What about all that? That suddenly you think you belong to yourself? You belong to the world. We all need you. And what the hell? What the nonsense is that? I don't have any hope in life because this girl liked me. What? This girl was what? The beginning and the end of the universe? That everything is summed up in her? And now that she's not in your life, all opportunities gone? I'm making fun of this because I want you to trigger something. I want you to see how silly it is. If your son would have come or your daughter would have come and told you something like this, when, let's say, in the future, when you have children. And one of them would come and say, Dad, all the things you did for me, all the things Mom did for me, and I went to school and so much effort and love was spent on me, and I am who I am today. But, my girlfriend or my boyfriend have left me and I don't feel any hope in life anymore. What you going to do? It'd be hard to not introduce the ugly stick to them, because it's hard for me to not introduce it to you. But you know the merits of what I'm saying. Your whole life ambitious, the whole mission that you have in this universe, in this life journey, is summed up in, honestly, I don't have anything else to say. You just simply watch the videos that I have. Your answer is in the videos. I already have about 2,000 videos on the subject of breakups and all that. So watch them. Make it easy on me. Don't make me angry. You don't like me when I get angry. That's what Hulk said in his old movies. So go take care of yourself. Have some respect for yourself. Go with a pair. So it didn't work, it didn't work. If she can do it, you can do it. Why should you be talking about the ex? What's wrong with you? What happened to your balls? Cut it off when she left? Have some respect for yourself. Go find other women. Millions of wonderful women out there. Go. Don't talk to me like that. I'll just break this over your head, but you got to put your motorcycle helmet on. This is a heavy wood. All right. Stephen says, I know that good men are hard to come by for women. I have been thinking lately on how I deserve so much more. I'm not perfect, but I've grown and improved myself over the years. Yeah, I have just been a little frustrated lately. You have no reason to be frustrated, because first of all, you have more than your share. You've got so many women that at least you have an opportunity to know at work. Most of your co-workers are women, but people in pandemics, they can't go anywhere. Nowhere. No socializing, no tennis, no soccer, no disco, no restaurant much, no dating, everybody's apprehensive. So what are you talking about? This is going to get lots of use tonight, it looks like. God damn it. Increasing my core temperature. So all right, let's see what else. What other nonsense you have to say, Stephen? Here. I'm frustrated lately. How I know I deserve. Okay. Deserve a good girl. Yeah, I do. Everybody does. After I pass this exam in a couple of weeks, yes, I'll be seeking a better job. There we go. And I'll be a new beginning and a little scary to be. listen, you don't have to get a new job. If they offer you a better position right there where you are, why don't you stay there? You know, everything is cool there. Just face your fears. Don't run away from them. So what? She's there, she's there. Big deal. Honestly, it's not you who lost the chance. Why would you want a girl who can't appreciate you enough? She lost her chance because you were appreciating her a lot more. So, who lost an opportunity? Not you. You can give that to someone else who deserves it. But what is she going to learn? She lost someone who was giving her quite a bit of attention. And so often, that's the problem. Because not everyone is confident enough to accept a expensive gift, meaning the attention. Not everybody is worthy of it or find themselves deserving of it, and that backfires on the person who's actually looked for that wonderful, perfect gift. They didn't deserve it, so they couldn't handle it. And that's how it is. You were a gift to her. She couldn't deserve it. She couldn't handle it. And there it is. So who lost it? Not you. Because you lost someone who wasn't appreciating enough and wasn't deserving your attention. But she lost someone who was giving her a lot more attention than she deserved. So she will come to it someday. They say, holy shit, I really just. But it doesn't matter. You got to go on and enjoy your life. And anyhow, so I say, and everything else behind me. I guess I just feel like I need a change, Mehran, a new beginning and a better future. No. You are the change. The change here. You don't need to change anything if you don't have to. Change here. There is no reason for you to be unhappy. You have food, you have place, you have shelter, you have safety, you have your health. That's the most important thing. Just imagine if any one of these things were not available to you, then you would know what hardship is. Right now, you've got all of that and you're focusing on nonsense. If any of those things that I named wasn't there, you wouldn't even give a shit about what you're talking about. You'd be focusing on the food, shelter, safety, health. So get your priorities straight, you'll be fine. Steven says, nice jacket. Yeah, I know, I love that jacket. Where is it? Oh, it is. Rushikesh Pandya says, hi Mehran, this might be slightly unrelated, but I thought you might be able to help me with this. I'm 24 years old male from London. I am planning to move out of my parents' house when my new role starts in August. I can travel from home and don't need to move out, but I decided to move out as I want to be my own man and become my own responsible person. Every time I bring it up, my mom gets visibly really upset and just tells me she doesn't want to hear it. Can you advise me on how to win my mom over? This is my new beginning and life after a very tough year. This is my new beginning and life after a very tough year. Rushi, if what makes it easy. Ah, your name you mean? Rushi. Hirushikesh Pandya. Hiroshi sounds Japanese, but where'd you say? London. Okay. So, Rushi. You know, you have to understand it's not that easy when you've been living with your parents for 24 years and they are obviously now at an older time of their life, and they would be more emotional than maybe if they were younger, and they would remember their youth themselves, but they might be from a different generation, which they are, and traditions could have been different and there was no such questions, and your mom was a woman, so there would be thought of moving out of the home was just, not in the works. I mean, not in the cards, was there? So she's not going to understand what you're going to be saying and what you're feeling. And perhaps you can talk to your father and talk to your dad and say, Dad, do you remember when you were younger, you couldn't wait to prove to your parents that you are able to master your life and be responsible and show that you're worthy of their attention, that they raised you the way they have raised you, and you want to prove to them that their efforts haven't gone to waste and that you can take care of yourself. And by taking care of yourself, you want to give them that assurance, that psychological security that every parent wants to have when they raise children and they are worried about him or her. And I want to ask you your help, Dad. I want you to help Mom to understand that if I go outside and live outside, I would be able to have certain responsibilities that I should. And when it comes time for me to get married or, have a relationship, with serious relationship, then I would at least know what is involved in running a household, in providing for my life, and what responsibilities I should be facing. Right here, I'm living like a little pampered boy, and I have certain chores, and I don't understand really the whole concept. It's like working for a company and owning a company. Working for a company, my duties are limited to just come and clock the ticket and then leave and do certain job while I'm at work. But owning the company, I got to know everything about it. The inventory, the sales, the production, the staff, taxes, accounting, investments, bank situations, borrowing money, and all these things. Then I become someone who can actually run a company. Just one moment, guys. So if you explain it that way, then your father might actually see the merits of what you're saying, and he could actually be instrumental in convincing your mother. And if father wasn't available at the time or not interested to get in the middle of that, then you may bring this subject and this tone with your mom and say, I understand how important it is for you to make sure we are safe and we're good and to take care of us, and I appreciate it, Mom. But I need to learn how to be a man, and that means it has to be hands-on, not just the theory or being taken care of. I should be able to take care of something, and that is why my intention is to feel that full load of responsibility and to be prepared for when the time comes for me to have a family. It's kind of a dry run for me before I have a family. So talk like this, and perhaps that'll be helpful. And he says, yep, you spelled it correct. H is silent. So it's Rushikesh. Yeah, okay. Says, my father understands, but he doesn't want to go against my way. Oh, there you go. He's lost his balls years ago, I guess. Yeah, Mom's got the control of the kitchen and the food. And if your dad talks too much, he may not have food, let alone anything else. So, so he's, he's just complying. He pretends he's the boss, but Mom is the boss, actually, isn't she? So talk to Mom directly without any agent in the middle. So tell her that I want to make you proud, Mom. Therefore, I want to make sure that I know what I'm doing when it's time for me to have my own family and things like that. Rushikesh says, I think that conversation with my mom directly will work. Yeah, I'm sure the amount of love that she has, she also understands that what is necessary for you to become who you're meant to become. And Frederick Zilaket says, I broke up with Frederick. Is it your first time here? If it is, welcome. But we have a protocol. We need to know your gender, age, and which country you're tuning in from. That helps me to know a little bit about you, and I need to know your age to know if you're old enough anyhow, and at the same time who I'm talking as far as age and gender and the cultural background. So these three things will help me out. And he says, I broke up with someone I have feelings for, but lost attraction for them. Still thinking about them. It's terrible, and it's been a year. Doesn't matter. Just you decided to stay in that memory instead of pursuing other things and go forward and find other friends. That's basically what it boils down to, because nobody can force you to think of her, whatever your relationship is. And Frederick says, Ohio, or is it O? Like, oh, I forgot. Or is it OH standing for Ohio? This is male 33 USA. Probably it says, oh, male 33 USA. Okay, thank you for that. So basically, that's what it is. You've chosen to, stay there. Because it's easier to stay and not move than move and, progress and find things, search. So change that decision and go for it. Find new friends. But it's been difficult during the past year to find new friends anyhow. I understand that. And Vita says, 24 years old. It says, you're a man. Go to live your life. Oh, you're talking to someone else. If your mom doesn't like, it's her choice. I just see it as a selfish thing. It's your life. Yeah, Vita, but in some cultures, it's not that easy to talk to mom like that. And you got to be tactful. Of course, it is rather selfish, but her intentions obviously is not to be selfish by intention. It just is selfish, meaning it's good for her, but she doesn't mean to be abusive to him and deny him and just think about herself. No, she's just noticing it, not noticing any of that. It's out of love and care and closeness. So it's just a oversight, but not intentional. That could be interpreted as selfishness. But I understand what you're saying, and your content is okay, but the form of it is going to be dangerous for him to say, Mom, it's been selfish. I have to. Frederick says yes and says thank you. Okay, good. All right, guys. Looks like we have discussed all the questions. There are no more questions, and we've been here for about an hour and a half. And this morning we were here 4 hours. So I think I've had my share of talking today, and it would be time perhaps have a little tea and maybe dinner. Yeah. So I love you all. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you here, and I look forward to talk to you next Saturday, 1 p.m. Vancouver time, and then again 9 p.m. Vancouver time. Please share the videos you like on my channel in your social media. Help us to grow by simply sharing these things, letting people know that we exist and support exists, and help them to, be able to learn about themselves and to handle their challenges by knowledge, by understanding. And here it is. I'm putting a short 1 minute and 47-second video that you can share on the social media, introduce the live stream and live talk and the channel. That helps the channel to get exposure, and then we will not die without being seen. And Rushikesh says, yes, in my culture, kids get married and stay with their parents. My mom wants me to stay at home and save for a house rather than waste money on rent. No, that's her way of convincing you for sure. but that's also true. She has a point as well. And here it says, I have to provide a pro and con list of why it might be worth me living out and wasting money on rent. Thank you, Mary. You're quite welcome. But you know what she's getting at, your mom? She knows if you live alone, you're going to have girls over, and she's worried about you getting pregnant, and there would not be the choice for you, and out of wedlock, out of getting her pregnant, you're going to get married. That's not particularly what you have chosen yourself, or depending on the culture, if they would be looking for a suitable wife for you, and that would defeat the whole thing. That's her. I think that's her fear, and that's her motivation to hold you back, to deliver you the kind of family that she has envisioned for you, and do her duty as somewhat of a final, and then help your new wife to get to know how things that needs to be gotten to know the traditional way, because part of their life is about how they live, and also how they will do the transition of you coming into the maturity of having a family on your own. So she's also a focus on that. Vita says, still your life and you're not your culture. Vita, I remember you, and remember the protocol? I forgot. I believe you're a lady. Am I not? Am I correct? You can't be living as your family wants just because what your family... Yeah, these are all true, Vita. Nobody disagrees with you. She wants to control your life. Don't mistake that with love. Again, I don't think that's the intention of the mother in most cases. And Vita says it's terrorism and can ruin your life. I know that well because I'm dealing with this. And I understand, and I guess that this is probably something that you're dealing with it. But while the content of what you're saying is correct, but you approach it in that kind of a winning attitude, so to speak, you're actually going to create lots of hurt. It has to be tactful. You can get what you want with a tactful approach rather than direct frontal attack and demolition. That won't work. It's a family. So you discuss it and you find ways, fine tune it, and then but perhaps you started doing that late and you should have done it maybe earlier, or you didn't find the tactful way right enough. It's no sense of trying to start a confrontation when things can be approached in different ways. It's like saying it's not a good example. It's like saying someone is taking the hostage and police comes in and starts shooting, rather than any discussion, any talk, any offering for pizza, any offer or anything. So you get the gist of it. You know what I'm saying. Everybody is right, but the approach should be appropriate to the situation. So on that note, again, love you all. Looking forward to talk to you next Saturday, and share the link that I put in here on social media. Please let everybody know that we exist, and we can provide support on the topics that is for this channel. But in the meantime, I look forward to talking to you again next week. Be good to yourself and the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.